Airbnb at this time was just starting to be like, it's not easy anymore.
Becoming saturated. There's competition.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. And so like, how do you stand out, right? Mm-hmm. So, what we did was we got good professional photos in there. Uh-huh. What I would do is, anytime anyone asks me about a market or jumping into Airbnb, this is my process. I would look into the market I want to be in. Let's just say it's Milwaukee. Yeah. And then I would go on Airbnb and, look for single family homes, 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, look at the photos and see what the competition is. Yeah. If I think we can compete and make it just as nice or nicer than them, then I'll take the next step and maybe do like AirDNA and see what the rents are, see what the vacancies are.
Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. I'm Stephen Tran.
And I'm your co-host, Jordan Lee, and we're super excited to have Don Luong on the show with us today. Don, you want to just give us like your background? Are you originally from the area and kind of like what your story is?
Sure, yeah. I'm originally from Portland.
Oh, Portland local.
Portland local. I was here until, I want to say 2002 maybe.
Okay.
Now I moved down to the Bay Area, to Santa Clara.
For college or for work or?
No. Around that time I was in my early 20s and still trying to figure things out, and really wasn't going anywhere. I was just living on with my brother. Okay. And didn't really have a good job, wasn't going to school, and I just needed a change. Yeah. And I have 2 older brothers. I actually have 4 siblings, so it's 5 of us. But one of my brothers, he lived in California, and I called him up, and I was like, hey, are you having kids anytime soon? He said, no. And I said, great, I'm moving down. And that was it. And I moved down there, and I want to say early 2000s. Okay. I'm not sure exactly when.
Okay. Was there a big age gap?
Yeah, he is about 7 years older than me. My oldest brother is 10 years older than me.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I have one younger sister that's 2 years younger.
Okay, gotcha. And so when you moved in with him, was he like dating? Did he have a wife?
He had a wife.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. They were married. I would say he's like the golden child.
What does he do?
He is the, might be getting this wrong, but the executive vice president of Chef's Warehouse.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. So you went down to the Bay Area.
Went down to the Bay Area, quickly tried to get a job because I didn't want to freeload. Worked in retail, went to Best Buy, went to Verizon, was selling phones, and then
that was back when it was like the heyday of selling phones,
it
right?
was.
Because it was you'd like renew plans every year or whatever.
Renew plans. Yeah. Thought about like, it'd be cool if I could open up a cell phone shop, But my brother, he was banking at Wells Fargo, and he had a good relationship with the manager over there, and he asked if they were hiring, and then so he got me a job at Wells Fargo, and then
like as a teller to start.
I was a personal banker at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I really didn't want to go because in high school I was a teller, and I was a teller for about a year and a half to 2 years. Then I left, trying to figure things out here. This was in Portland. And then I came back, customer service, I think in credit cards, in Hillsboro. And then I was like in collections over there. I didn't want to go back to Wells. I wanted to do something different. I'm in a different state. I wanted a fresh start. But yeah, no, he got me a job as a they call him a customer service rep, but basically a banker. And I was there doing that for close to 10 years.
And what does that look like? Is that HELOCs and like personal loans or what?
When I was there, we were opening up checking accounts.
Oh,
we were opening up
that was that
credit
time.
cards. Yeah, we were that time. That's when, try to open as many accounts as we could.
You got like an extra $10 or something if you open up an account for
Dude,
somebody.
I wouldn't be able to leave the office if I didn't open an account, you know. So I'd be hitting up my friends,
Yeah.
trying to open accounts. And then while I was there, you know, I saw my financial advisors, you know, coming in the office a little bit later,
Yeah.
you know, driving the nicer cars. And I was like, all right, I got to get my license and go down that route. So I did that. I got my Series 7, Series 66, I think, and became a financial advisor. But in the first year I was there, I didn't enjoy it. You know, at the time I didn't have a lot of money, so I wasn't really investing myself.
Right.
And I would have clients come in talking to me about their IRAs,
Right.
you know, where to put their money. And I had no clue.
Right.
Like I got the
Heck if
license.
I know.
Yeah. And at the time, Wells Fargo would give you like a list of, I don't know, let's say like 60 or 100 different mutual funds that
Right.
you put people in based on their risk tolerance. But aside from that, like I really didn't know anything, you
Yeah.
know, and the people would come in, they'd be talking about the market. And I don't watch, you know, CNBC and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And after that is when I got to mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was in a place where I was like, all right, you know, I want to own a home one day.
Yeah.
So
In California?
just in general, I want to own a home, right?
Yeah.
But how else, you know, how am I going to learn how to buy a house? You know, I would talk to a mortgage advisor, and they tell me a little bit, but at the same time, I'm kind of embarrassed to ask these questions because I don't know how much I'm making at the time, but
Yeah.
maybe $20 an hour, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, maybe $17. I don't know what it was back then, but far from being able to buy a house. And I'm kind of asking these questions, but kind of embarrassed. So instead, I decided to switch careers into mortgage, and
So
you
you
know,
could like learn the ropes.
learn the ropes. I just learned everything I could, you know, like reading up on all these guidelines. You know, I always compare it to when we were younger and we're driving, you know, cars, and we want to daydream about fixing them up, or
Yeah.
getting a stereo in it, or whatever it is. You're, you know, reading Super Street magazine, I guess, and looking at different
Yeah.
exhausts, you know, wings or whatever, and you're learning everything. You might
Yeah.
not be able to buy one or get it. I never did, but you know, that's why I did.
But you were
when I went to
actually like
mortgage.
interested in it. Like you liked
Super.
learning guidelines and the rules and stuff compared
Super.
to like the financial stuff didn't interest
Like,
you.
how can I get
Interesting.
into a house? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can get in with, you know, 3% down, or 5% down. And so, yeah, and I switched to lending about close to 15 years ago, let's say
Yeah.
13 or 14 years ago. And I love it, and I've been doing it ever since. And, you know, since working in lending, I haven't woken up and been stressed out like, I got to go to work. Like, this sucks. You know, like, I love anything that has to do with real estate, mortgage, you know, investing. So, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty great the last 13 or 15 years.
So how did, and getting started into lending, you were still at Wells, right?
I was at Wells Fargo, yeah. I was there for the first 10 or 11 years.
And
of my
what
career.
was the setup like? Because you know, when I started lending, I started in a retail world, not in a bank space. It was basically I did have like an assistant position, so I had a tiny amount of income. But like, what was it? Did you have like a salary plus bonus, or how was your setup?
I don't think we had a salary, but what we had was, I think, minimum wage. So let's just say minimum wage was $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month.
Yep.
And then we would get our commission, and whichever was higher.
Okay.
So
So you'd had a guaranteed
draw, I
minimum
guess.
wage if you worked 40 hours a week.
yeah,
But then, yeah, you would draw against your commission.
right. And that's how it was while I was there. I think they changed things now.
Sure. Yeah. And then what was that like getting, I mean, at this point, like how did you find clients to get started? Like,
Because I was working at the bank, so pretty much bank
so
customers.
they were all built in.
Yeah, so they'd have you sit in the bank, you know, suit and tie, and you would try to train your personal bankers to ask, you know, these
Right,
questions, right? Or to look out for things, just like I was when I was a personal banker there. So say Stephen came in to make deposit with all of his change from all his investment properties, and I'd be like, I actually had a guy like that, right? And I'd be like, man, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I have investment properties, right? And these are like from my vending machines or my coin laundry
Right.
machines.
This guy's not driving the nice car like the financial advisors. He's just
He was chill. Yeah,
scamming change. Yeah.
yeah. So the other guy, same with my client. He was an older guy. He
Yeah.
drove like an old car. It was probably like a Benz, but it was like a early '80s. You know what I mean? And then the other clients would come in with depositing, a stack of personal checks. What do you do? Oh, I'm an investor. So, so I trained the personal bankers to look for the same thing, ask these questions, and then they would try to ask, do you own a home, anything about refinancing, or they'd look up, while they're doing the transaction for you, maybe look at the interest rate of that mortgage, and we'd give them baseline to look up, anything over back then, anything over 6%, introduce them to me.
Right.
And that's how I got all my clients, really.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Starting out until you start to establish yourself and make relationships with realtors, and that was the way until I think 2017. I think.
Oh wow. Okay, so it was all mostly bank stuff, figuring everything out.
Yeah.
So did you have basically as a 9 to 5, right? You go into the office every day, just sit there and wait, or when did your business kind of transition to kind of being more on your own?
I would say around 2017, 2018. So yes, they don't require you to sit in the bank all day. They want you to.
Yeah.
If you have no production and you're not in the bank, what are you doing? Like, where are you at? Where are you trying to get business?
Yep.
But around that time, I think my manager and we transferred to an office in San Francisco, and it was at least an hour drive from where I was at.
Oh, geez.
And sometimes I would take the Cal train, and when I'm on the train, that would be another extra 30 minutes because commute, parking. I couldn't really take calls because it was really loud or bad reception.
Yeah.
So that's probably that year I probably made the least amount of money in lending because I wasn't really active. I was just commuting, right? But at the same time, I did okay, and that's when I realized I didn't need to go in the office, right? Because half the time I'm not in the office anyways. I get in, by the time I get in, it's like 10 something. Maybe go get lunch, come back, work for another hour, and then like I gotta get back because I have kids at this point.
Yeah.
I gotta get back and pick them up. So I realized I didn't need to be in the office at that point, but I was still trying to figure out, how to continue to pick up clients.
Yeah. Well, question about that. I mean, would you say the leads you got in from the tellers and everything during that time wasn't doing as well as you going to network?
I think when I first started out, rates were continuing to drop.
Yeah.
Right. So we were probably in the 6s when I started, in the 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s.
It's a lot of refinance business.
And you really just had to be ready to pick up that phone call if a client reaches out to you, or sit in front of a computer and look up, the leads that your
mining.
Your mining, thank you. Your banker sent you.
Yeah.
You would have access to. Actually, at the time, the first couple of years, I was what you call a junior, so I'd work for another senior mortgage consultant, and he'd give me his book of business, and he'd be like, we'd split it or whatever, but he'd have me call his clients who had a higher rate. But as I went on my own, yes, I was still getting some leads, but at this point, I'm starting to establish relationships with other realtors and other clients who would refer me business. So yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like the bank was really the best place for me. I'd rather just sit in the bank. Sitting in the bank, it's great because you get these clients, but you also get a lot of people just kind of walk up to you and can you help me with my checking account? Or, customer service stuff that you really don't have access to. Like you'd have to call the 800 number to pull up mortgage statements, right? So it was more beneficial to actually you still come in, but maybe to like a regular mortgage office where you can just really buckle down and work and focus. So when I realized I didn't need to go to the bank anymore, I was still going to the office, but just not the bank.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your investing in real estate. So you mentioned that what got you excited was learning about programs and how you could get in your first home. How did you end up working that piece out?
So I bought my first during this time, actually, when I was commuting to the San Francisco, I was listening to another podcast called Bigger Pockets.
Mm-hmm. This is in like what, 2016?
2017 maybe.
Okay.
2015 maybe.
Okay.
2015 to 2017. I was listening every single
episode. It was
episode.
before the market had started going up. It was still.
I mean,
like it was
in
still,
the Bay, it was up.
Oh, well, I guess you were in the
yeah.
Bay, so.
But yeah, it was still early, I guess, and I was listening to a lot of podcasts about real estate investing, and I was, it's a 2-hour commute, almost each way. We already owned our first home in 2015, and I'm listening to a lot of podcasts. I'm on different forums, and it was one of those things, analysis paralysis, right? Just doing research, but trying to figure out, is it the right time? Is it the right
deal,
one?
yeah.
And my wife was like, you need to just do something. You're talking about it, you're looking at it, like, let's just do something. So, we bought our first one. It was in Kansas City, sight unseen through a
You went
turnkey.
for the Midwest style.
I went Midwest, it's like, what I did was I called 3 or 4 different turnkey operators, and I talked to all of them, and then basically I would ask them, like, what market are you guys focusing the most? And when the answer that that I heard the most was the one I chose. So I went to Kansas City, and it did okay. And the reason I'm saying it did okay because I bought that one property that they didn't buy to fix and flip to sell.
Right.
It was like another client's property that the guy was helping offload.
Yeah.
But I liked it because it was like a duplex, and I thought it was in a good area.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't realize is when you're investing in the Midwest, you get like real 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh,
So my lease was up in October, I think.
Good luck leasing it out in
Bro.
December. Yeah.
It was empty for like 3 months, and like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is stressing me out. And it wasn't even a lot of money, right? It's $700 maybe.
Right.
But still, it's my first property, and like, this is not good.
Yeah, it's
so-
hard to see the long term when it's like you buy something.
Yeah, and if
it's
you had to
hemorrhaging
fix
money.
stuff-
Yeah. Yep.
Did you have to fix a lot over there?
I didn't really fix too much until I sold it. Then I had a bunch of stuff I had to fix to turn it over to that next guy.
I thought it was turnkey.
No, the one that I bought, the one property they had listed that was not turnkey was the one I bought.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like a duplex, and it was near, a hospital, and had a big lot. So it was a little bit older. It wasn't like a fresh flip, which what I should have done. But yeah, I sold that one. We were at this point, I moved to Idaho. I was in Boise, and we were visiting Portland pretty often because it's like a short drive.
Wait. So sorry, you sold that one, and what did they overall like look like? Like, did you get back more than you put in? How? Or
I
was
probably-
it kind of like break even.
I probably made like 10,000,
Okay.
but I feel like I lost
After how long?
it about 2 years.
Okay.
But then there's
That's probably
agent
like
fees,
but
closing
I mean, it
costs.
probably costs like $150K.
It cost me I want to say it cost me $150K. I sold it for like $190,
Yeah.
but then I had to put in like 10 or 15,000 into
So
it
you netted about $10K, like
Yeah.
not quite 10% over a 2-year period.
over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
But then I also had that vacancy for like 6 months.
Right.
Oh, so you're paying out of pocket for
Yeah.
a while. Yeah.
So then we
But
moved
you
to
probably
Boise.
made a little bit on rent. Not crazy. Probably
A
even
little
wash.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, at this point, I moved from the Bay Area to Boise during COVID, and we were traveling here often because of visiting my parents, and this wasn't too bad of a drive. But now I'm 3 kids deep, big dog, and my parents are getting older, and when we come and visit them, they'd be like, "Oh, don't touch this," or "Get them off the couch," And I felt like, okay, we can't really stay here because our family's getting too big. My kids are too rowdy.
Yeah.
My boys are too rowdy. I think we had two boys at the time. And again, I'm listening to all these podcasts, and I'm like, we should try to Airbnb. Just buy something. We can stay there when we visit, and when we're not there, we'll rent it out, So back then, I think there were still second home loans that didn't have a
You put 10% down. And
10% down,
Same
no
price as the primary
LP,
purchase.
A hit, yeah. So that was my first one in downtown Beaverton, and we stayed there a few times and rented out, and it went pretty well. And then from there, when we moved back, since it was doing so well, we bought a second one, and then kind of just moved on from there. So anytime I saw a property near there that I thought would work for Airbnb, you know, we try to pick it up, fix up just a little bit. You know, my cousin would help me interior design for it, and then.
Oh, see, that's I think that's a step that a lot of people kind of leave out of Airbnb, and I mean you probably know better on this, but like, what made you decide to use a designer? Because I think that's kind of an important piece of running an Airbnb or a hotel that people kind of overlook.
So I'm fortunate my cousin and my wife, they both have a good eye for interior design, and I thought I did. But when I started picking things out and showing them, they'd be like, no.
Right.
You know, no, constantly.
Yeah.
So my first Airbnb, when I bought it, I was very nervous. Right? Never done it before. Actually, I tried before, but that's another story. So I never done it before, and I'm out of state. So I hired a property management company out here that would charge like 25%.
Yep.
But they took care of everything. And that was nice. It was the summer.
They cleaned it.
I didn't have to worry about anything. But 25% was a lot, right? And I'm barely breaking even in the summer. And of course, when you first start out, you're not going to be making the most anyways because you're still building up. No reviews. And I'm giving the guy 25%. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is the summer. Like, what's going to happen in September, October?
Right.
Like, I'm going to be screwed. So I cut ties with him, but before I cut ties with him, I signed up for like an Airbnb like master class. You know, paid I don't know how much it was, $3,000 or $4,000.
Oh wow!
And I wish I didn't because all the information is free online.
Yeah.
You know, I was just not confident. So I thought by signing up and having that network would help me out.
It probably forced you to take the education though.
It did, you know, but. Doing any type of master class or class like that, they build it, and especially when it's a bigger company, they build it and they give you so much information. It's like, when do you have the time to take it all in and to learn everything, right? Because it's not like scheduling one-on-one and showing you how to do things. It's like, watch this video this week. And then I still got kids, I still got a job, I still got, you know, life, right? So I already knew probably 90% of stuff that they were, you know, feeding me, because just from, you know, listening to podcasts and watching YouTube. But yeah, so I cut ties with the property manager here. He was cool about it, and it kind of just took off. But through watching these videos and stuff, going back to your question is, you know, Airbnb at this time was just starting to be like, it's not easy anymore.
Becoming saturated. There's competition.
Thank you. Yes. And so, like, how do you stand out, right? So, you know, what we did was we got good professional photos in there. You know, what I would do is, you know, anytime anyone asks me about a market or jumping into Airbnb, this is my process. I would look into the market I want to be in. Let's just say it's Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You know, and then I would go on Airbnb and, you know, look for single-family homes, you know, 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, look at the photos and see what the competition is. If I think we can compete and make it just as nice or nicer than them, then I'll take the next step and maybe do like AirDNA and see what the rents are, see what the vacancies are, you know, click on the ones that are most comparable to what I think I can do and see how booked out they are before I jump into that market. And that's basically what we did in Beaverton. We looked to see who was out there, and a lot of them were like, you know, maybe not professional photos. A lot of them felt really cold. You know, a lot of them felt like old, you know, like office style. Right. And then, so I asked my cousin, and she helped me decorate it, and it did pretty well. And then from there, we just kind of try to copy that process with property that I felt like was either in a good location or that I could sell later, right? Like an exit strategy. Like, yes, I want to buy it for Airbnb, but can I rent it out long term?
Could you rent it out long term or mid term?
Would it sell?
Could you sell it to a family if you needed to?
Yes. So Airbnb is first, but you know, it is a lot of risk. It is a lot of money up front, But if it doesn't work out, like, can I rent it out long term? Can I sell it fast if I have to? Right.
Right. Give you some options that way.
Can you talk about just the management of the Airbnb, like the responding to the potential customers, asking for reviews, cleaning, etc. Like, who does that?
So I do most of it. I have a cleaning crew. I found that
How many, and at this point, how many Airbnbs are you running?
right now we have 6, and we're bringing on the 7th.
All in the Portland area?
All in the Beaverton, like Hillsboro area.
Beaverton, Hillsboro area. And you're the owner of these, or you manage?
I manage 2.
You manage 2 and okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and then so I have my own cleaners. I won't clean it myself. Actually, funny story. So the first Airbnb we bought, we used to stay there all the time when we come visit from Idaho. One time we always like to check on our property. One time we came by to check it out. I don't know what my wife was thinking, but she looked in the garbage can, and she saw like a used condom.
Ooh.
And she was like, "We're never staying here again." I'm like, "Dude, what do you think they do at hotels, right? Like, it's their personal private space." We hadn't cleaned the property yet. So we actually haven't stayed at that house since. Well, luckily we moved here now. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, we got 6 that I manage right now, 4 are my own. And so I have my own cleaners. I think for any Airbnb host, they want to have, or for me especially, is you want to have a cleaning crew that's not too big, but not too small, because you could have 2 or 3 or 4 turnovers in one day with, same day booking.
Yeah.
So I hire a outside company for that. But as far as like setup, managing, I do that. And to be honest with you, it's not too much. I mean, I probably spend an hour at the most a day on it.
Yeah.
In the last like 3 days, I haven't done any time on it. I think I sent like 2 text messages because a guy asked me if the landscapers were coming by today.
Yeah.
But there's some days where, I'm busy all day, and it could be some stuff like filling up propane tanks, changing batteries on the Ring cameras, replacing pots and pans that a guest will tell me that's, scratched up or burnt.
Yeah.
But for the most part, all the time is spent up front, listing it, putting on the property management software, writing up the descriptions. And I would say actually the most time-consuming part is the setup.
Yeah.
Right? Putting together furniture, setting up blinds. It might be really easy, but each set of blinds might take you like 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
And if you have like a small house, there's 8 of those.
Yeah.
That's 2 hours of your day just doing that. I had a friend help me out putting together a dresser, and that took him like 3 hours, right? Because we're not always buying like Crate and Barrel. It's already built for you. Some of it's Target, some of it's Amazon, and some of the less expensive stuff, like you gotta put it together, and you've seen those instructions. Sometimes there's no instructions.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say that's the most time-consuming part. But once you're set up, I would say it's pretty easy. But also like I said in the beginning, is I like real estate. I like anything that has to do with this industry.
Yeah.
So I enjoy talking to people and the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. Curious why you chose Beaverton and Hillsboro mostly for your properties. Can you talk about that?
I chose Beaverton because my parents live out there.
Yeah.
And I wanted something closer to them. I chose downtown Beaverton. Actually, my buddy Joe was telling me that's probably the next place to be, I guess. He was my realtor on that one, Joe Lou. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Joe. So I bought the first property out there, but after I bought out there, I realized that it's slowly. You don't have to have permits like you do in Portland.
Yeah.
So in Portland, you have to have a permit. There's 2 types, I think. There's one for people who rent out the rooms. There's another if you rent out the entire property.
Yeah.
But you can only rent it out for a certain amount of days out of the year.
I think it's 240 days out of the year you can rent it.
I think it's the other way around.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to live in it for 240 days of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it has to be a 30-day rental.
Yeah.
And Multnomah County property tax. So I'm familiar with Beaverton. I'm already on that side of town. There was no permit process. I don't think there's going to be anytime soon. I don't even hear like any buzzes about it. So that's why I'm out in Beaverton.
And would you say, like everybody thinks of Airbnb as like vacation, like things like that. Would you say you get a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm going to go vacation in Beaverton, Oregon, or Hillsboro, Oregon? What kind of clients do you get?
Yeah, so people ask me all the time, and that's what I thought when I bought my first house. But I was like, you know what, it's okay because I'm going to stay there. But most people that are coming out there, we have some vacationers, but a lot of people are out there visiting family, right? So, imagine just like my parents, right? Like they're getting older, and say their kids want to come with their kids, their grandkids. Might not be enough room for everybody, so they want something close to family to stay at that they can be comfortable at. So I get a lot of parents visiting their grandkids or kids, or kids are about to have babies and they want to be nearby to help out, or kids visiting their grandparents because maybe, or parents maybe because they had surgery and they want to be closer to them, visiting colleges. And I get a lot of people who are actually from Beaverton but are fixing their house or because
doing
they're
some
going
remodels,
some remodels. Like I have someone coming in
refinishing their floors and
tomorrow.
For a week or whatever.
Like they had a leak in their kitchen, and so they're gonna be out of the house for like 3 weeks or a month at a time.
Yep, and often insurance will pay for the lodging. That's because it's like it's interesting to think about that like from a family perspective, because it used to be always like you go to a hotel, but Airbnb makes a lot more sense for a lot of those folks.
Bigger space.
Yeah, I think we grew up in a different time. When I was younger, at least, we could just stay at our family's house and we'd sleep on the floor and we'd just cram in there, right?
Yeah.
Now, everybody wants their own space.
Totally.
You got to think about your, if it's your immediate family, you have to think about your spouse, And as your kids get older, they have their own personal space that you want to respect. So you do get a lot of family visiting family, and they want one place. Maybe their house is too small, and they just want one home that they can all congregate at and hang out.
So it seems like you've got a pretty good model down of like acquisition, and then like getting it, designed and rented out and continuing to maintain it. Are you trying to continue to build from the management side? Like, are you wanting to grow it out from that perspective, or more from the ownership perspective? Since you have a little bit of experience doing both now, what do you think you prefer?
I am actually working on the management side now. I think we're done purchasing.
A little bit lower risk, I guess.
Running out of money too. I mean, you still got to put down. Can't put down 10% anymore,
gotta come
right?
with funds, yep.
It's at least 20-25% just to even get in, and then interest rates these days to make it pencil out. So, yeah, I mean, since we have the infrastructure there, I'm going to start focusing more on
building and management, clients.
Management,
yeah, and I know you mentioned before someone was charging you 25%. What are you charging folks?
I'm charging them 20%.
Okay, so it's a little bit better than what, and it's you're all inclusive.
20%, yeah, we do everything. That does not include cleaning or maintenance, right? So they pay that out of pocket.
Right. That's
but
just
they use your cleaners though, right?
They can use my cleaners if they want. I prefer it because I don't know how good their cleaners are.
Yeah.
And also I don't know how available they are. Most Airbnb hosts, especially if they have one or two, maybe use like a mom and pop or a lady they like,
something, yeah.
Right? But again, like what happens if that person doesn't respond?
Yeah.
And you get a new person in there who's never been there before, or doesn't do a good job, or doesn't show up. I mean, that happened to me once. I tried to switch cleaners, trying to save, $20 to clean. Lady didn't even show up. And then a guest comes in, it's dirty, and now I'm on Facebook trying to find a cleaner last minute to come at like 9 p.m.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I like that medium-sized cleaner where they have maybe, 6 or 8 people rotating in, and they do a pretty good job. They come in, they'll clean, they'll do a laundry off-site, then they'll bring it back to save time.
Yeah, I mean, big enough for them to care about their reputation, right? And wanting to continue business. Because a lot of these mom and pop, I'm just, one or two cleaners, I'm sure they're just trying out the business. And
Yeah, trying to, maybe it's a side thing.
Yeah.
And, they get sick and they don't show up, and it's on you, right?
They don't have backup, yeah.
With Airbnb, it's all about, your reviews, right?
Yep.
If
Yeah.
you drop, you lose
super
that super
consistent,
host,
yeah.
then you're screwed.
Yeah, because your review, as the manager, your reviews will carry over to the property too, right?
There's 3 different types. There's Superhost, so that looks at all your properties, and then there's reviews for specific properties. Then you can be like guest favorite, and they just rolled out this other thing called Luxury or Lux, which I signed up for. I'm not sure if it made a difference or not yet, but if it's they have like certain criteria, they'll have a employee come out and check to see the amenities that you have, and if it already has the right amount of high reviews, then it would qualify. But all those different tiers will help you in their algorithm, right? So when you go look at Beaverton,
Right.
You should be on the top. But if
Gotcha.
you don't have that super host, or if you don't have guest favorite, you're going to be towards the bottom.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's always tough.
And is there like what's an inflection point? Like how are you wanting to scale it to like a larger scale? Or are you wanting to go to a certain size in terms of management?
I haven't really thought that far, but I think right now, since we already have a system, it wouldn't hurt to have a few more properties come in. If anything, it could help me streamline, because if I can get, if I could double my portfolio, let's say, I could probably hire my own clean crew.
Right.
And then I can cut costs there, because they'd be working directly for me. And it would bring in more revenue. But no, I haven't thought about like, how big I want to grow it. Right now, I'm just kind of letting it grow naturally, With the still doing mortgage business, I'm still trying to go to a lot of meetups.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to network, and if someone wants help, then definitely more than willing to help them. And then on Airbnb, if you're looking for a co-host, my name pops up on there.
So like people can go onto Airbnb and then ask to find a local co-host?
Yeah.
Essentially, like if they want to list their property on Airbnb, but they don't want to take care of it themselves, they can find someone like you will pop up.
Exactly. Or let's just say you're already a host now, but you're moving away. So actually, the person that I just brought on, she was hosting, she had her own property, she was managing it, then she got a job in California, and she's like, I need someone to take over because I need to be local.
Nice. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
So, question about taking over somebody else's Airbnb. They have all of their stuff in there. Maybe it doesn't fit your wife or your cousin's decor. What do you do? Do you tell them like you need to make these fixes so we can run it properly, or what is
No. At first, I kind of did that because some places were pretty bad, but I just tell them that you get what you pay for, or you get what you put out there. So with Airbnb, it's tricky because you want to get guests in, and you want you want good. You want to get guests in. You want to get low vacancy. But at the same time, if you drop it too low, then you get guests who really don't respect your space, or nickel and dime you, I guess. So like one of my properties, when I first started out, I forgot to add like the cleaning fee or management fee. So my rates were really low, and I'm getting bookings the first 3 weeks. But every guest that came in complained about something, and they were like nitpicky. Like it was a brand new renovated property, but they would complain about, I don't know, like a hair on the couch, right? And then I'd have to offer my cleaners to come back or a discount because I don't want to mess up my super host rating. But back to my very first property in Beaverton, that one I barely updated it. I think it's old, like creaky floors and everything. But if there's something wrong, my guests will be like, "Hey, just want to let you know." Well, first they'll be like, "Hey, thank you for everything. It's nice or it's clean, but just want to let you know, like there's a stain on one of the towels, or your cabinet is not opening, right?" But my other property where I priced it too low, like they would complain about everything. They wouldn't want discounts, it it was a headache. So I learned that you got to increase the price. When you increase the price, you get better tenants.
Can you talk about why you think that is? People looking for a discount, just.
I don't know why that is. I think.
Do you have a theory?
I do have a theory, but I think unfortunately there's some people out there who are trying to just like game the system.
Yeah.
Like know that you are trying. They know that you want to have a good Airbnb record, you know, and they might try to take advantage of that by asking for everything under the moon, like discounts for every night, you know. Unfortunately, those are the people who are like sneak in pets when they didn't tell you about
Or
it.
throw a party with too many people.
Now,
Yeah.
isn't there some filtering system for that now? Is like, don't the guests have a rating too, like that is rated by the host, or is that
There is, but
you can just make a new account?
make
or
a new
whatever,
account.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean they.
I once had an
That's-
Uber
that's-
driver tell me that like, oh, you only have like 4.7 stars or something on it, and you should like start a new account. And I'm like, what?
Someone might not want to pick you up. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
do?
realize. Like, I know.
What did you do in that Uber?
I don't know. I thought 4.7 is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Anything
he's
over 4.5, right?
I don't know, but you know, it's funny because I remember on my Airbnb, I think you know our manager had it priced too low, and then somebody sent me a TikTok video. It's like, "Hey, is this your home?" And somebody was throwing a party, and they did this whole like introduction, like they're recording like everybody coming into the house, like because they're doing a dance into the house. I was like, "There's like 40 people coming into my Airbnb." It was crazy.
Oh wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
No complaints though, so that was okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us like any like what is your worst horror story from owning your Airbnbs?
The worst one was probably one of maybe the second guest I had. So I have a hot tub, and you know people always say don't rent out to someone that's local, but you know I do. But you know it's weird because she kept on asking me about my hot tub. Does it work? Is it clean? And she kept asking that question again and again. And I was like, yes. You know, we just had it maintained. Yes, it's clean. Yes, it's working. And so, anyways, she was local. She was like from Vancouver or something. They stayed there for like 2 nights. And when we got back to clean it, there was like blood on the sheets. There was like cigarette burns on the coffee table. There was, you know, I think a broken table. Airbnb actually was pretty good about it and helped reimburse most of those costs because we had photos. I mean, I guess that would be my worst. But ever since then, we haven't had really a major issue. Like I said, I price it a lot higher now. I moved my my nightly stay minimums from like 3 nights to 4 nights, not only to prevent parties, but just to cut down on my costs.
On your turnover all the time.
Yeah, because
so
like
all your properties, you say like a minimum of 4 nights.
it used to be 3 nights. I just changed to 4. So I went from 2 to 3 to, you know, cut back on the parties, right? Because now they have to pay, you know, $800 to party one night versus
Right.
$600 or whatever it is. And then I moved to 4 nights because my cleaners, you know, they charge a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It's like $200 or more. And then if I'm renting out for 3 nights, well, there goes a third of my profit. Airbnb takes like 15%.
Right.
So my cleaners are making as much as I am on my own
Right,
property. So
right.
I'm moving to 4 now. So that again prevents a lot of parties. I do get a lot of guests asking if they can do 3 nights. Sometimes I'll make an exception, but for the most part, I try to keep it 4 nights. You know, then keep my rates high, and I'm happy with anything over, you know, a 65% vacancy, and I'm about 75 right now.
Oh, okay.
75% occupancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like if changing to, like more nights, does that add to your vacancy or not?
I just changed it like 3 months ago.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to tell because we'll see in the summer.
Yeah.
But it does help with my overall revenue because if I'm doing 3 nights, then I'll have, let's just say, like my first Beaverton property was 3 nights. Someone would stay for the weekend, and I'd have the whole week off.
Yeah.
And you know, not a lot of people traveling or staying in the middle of the week for 2 or 3 nights. So by making it 4 nights, it's spilling over, or people are staying longer. End up staying longer anyways.
Okay. Gotcha. And then let's talk about pricing real quick. Obviously, there's a lot of seasonality. How far do you open it up? And are you tinkering with the prices yourself? Or do you use like an algorithm? Or do you use AirDNA or those tools?
Again, I'm looking at the market. I'm seeing their setup compared to what I have. If I think my product is better or not.
Yeah.
And then, so I'll base it off theirs. I also use a pricing tool I can't think of right now off the top of my head, and it'll give me a set price. But again, it gives me a set price on what's out there.
Yeah.
So I usually bump it up like 15 to 20% of what they have if I think my house is a lot better than theirs. Like, it's like shopping on Amazon for a toy, right? Like, you kind of gravitate towards whatever the best photo. Well, on Airbnb, if I think my stuff is better than most other people's, then I'm going to increase my price because I think my product's better than theirs.
So does it mean like every time it's like a new day opens up, as you move forward, you have to go and adjust it manually?
Oh, no. So I'm sorry. I remember now. I use PriceLabs.
Okay.
So PriceLabs will help me set a base price, a minimum price, and the base price will be like what I'm trying to achieve over the next year.
Yeah.
Right? So my average night stay, and then I'll have like my lowest price, which is the least I would take. Right. So let's just say on one property might be base is $260, but I won't take less than $230 a night.
Yeah.
To get to that $260. All right. So, and PriceLabs looks at vacancies around you. It's supposed to see any major events in the area as well to determine the price. And then I'm looking at my competition to decide where to put that base, because they'll give you a recommendation, and then from there it'll adjust the nightly
It's
rate.
dynamic based on what time, like how many days out and what else is going on in the market.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously in the winter, I would say like from October to February is probably the slowest season, and then in the summer and spring is when most people are out here.
And you can set your baseline for those seasons. Like for maybe winter, it's like, oh, I'm not getting anybody. Maybe I'll do 200, and maybe during the summer it's like 250.
No, PriceLabs will do that for me.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll set it so I want to make around 260 a night year round. So maybe during the winter it might be closer to 230,
Yeah,
but
okay.
in the summer it's like 350, 400, 500.
Gotcha. How often? I mean, the PriceLabs helps you that, like you said, you're looking at your competition. How often are you personally tinkering with the prices? Do you check it every day, or do you check it like once a week?
No, I probably check it once a month.
Okay.
I could be better about jumping in there and tinkering with it, but I'm pretty comfortable with where we're at and the inventory that's out there.
Yeah.
I think it's doing well, but I probably check on like once a month and try to see if there's anyone else coming up to market that I have to do where I have to do something different to set myself apart.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. I mean, I'm not really messing with that pricing too much. If I notice like there's a lot of gaps of vacancy or not a lot of people staying, I might pop in there and be like, okay, what's going on? Maybe I need to bring my prices down a little bit.
Yeah.
But even though these are people visiting family or vacationing, a lot of these guys are booking last minute anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say if it's your property or if it's just how people plan their trips.
Yeah, and just based on your experience, do we have any major events in Portland or in the Portland metro area that like causes a huge influx? Like I know, like in Arizona, there's like spring training, and all those Airbnbs get booked like crazy. Or like when the Bay Area had the Super Bowl, like what do we have on a regular basis that gets people here? Like, and it's like crazy.
I won't know about crazy, but I would say in my market specifically, in like the Beaverton area, there would be a jump in like during graduation season, and there's like that big rock climbing gym near us.
Yeah.
I guess they have like a tournament or event once a year, so I'll get bookings for that.
Oh, cool.
We're about 20-30 minutes from Portland, so I can't say like Portland itself has anything to do with it.
Well, I have one in Troutdale, and what I notice is because we don't have those restrictions, you can get more people in a house, so they're willing to do that drive to Portland. Do you ever get people that
I tried to not have parties. So
not have a party? Like,
well, I limit it. So I try not to have parties, and I try not have them be too hard in the house. So I have like a lot of rules, but I often bend them.
yeah,
So if if my house is a 3-bedroom, it's 6 people. I don't advertise 8 unless someone that I'm hosting or that I'm managing for allows it and has like a futon or something. But my properties, it's 2 people per room. Sometimes I'll get like, hey, can my nephew stay with us one night or whatever? And I always say yes. I never say no. But again,
usually when people like take the time to ask you that, it's like right.
And again, I'm just trying to get it. Yes, income's important to me, but I also don't want them to mess up the house,
mitigate your risk,
and like you said, then I get these customers or guests who are more thoughtful, right?
Yeah.
So I don't try to max it out and push as many people in there as possible. But a lot of my other Airbnb hosts, they do that, and they do pretty well at this. There's this thing called like split pad, where they rent it out by room.
Gotcha.
Actually, when I was in California, my neighbor down the street, he had like bunk beds in each room, and he's renting it by bed.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in the Mission
through Airbnb still.
Through Airbnb, and it was like $20 a night or something. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
I had a friend when I was in a coding boot camp in San Francisco, and I think it was a 3 bunk beds in one room, and he was paying $1,000 a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Maybe we should do that then.
So you're saying there was 6 people in a room, each paying $1,000 a month?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just so we could be, near the coding boot camp, but yeah.
I think that's just a different business model altogether.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's running a dorm.
Yeah. If I were to do something like that,
a hostel, basically.
It would have to be something that's very close to like a college or, like walking distance, like downtown with like little parking.
Yeah.
And then your cleaner's going to have to be on site.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I was just mentioning about the big events in Portland because you don't have to stuff a house, but like if you can fit a family, because with the restrictions in Portland, like it's really hard to get space for like even 5-6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's usually people renting like a small ADU or like a basement or a bedroom one of their bedrooms, right? Because they have to be living in the house.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's all different type of clientele. Like when I first started, I thought I needed a 2-1 because only small families or business people are traveling. They want something small. And then as they get out to the suburbs, it's like, okay, maybe you need houses because, again, families are visiting families. There's not enough room. So I got, 2 3-2s that I manage and then a 4-bedroom, and they get booked out pretty good. I don't think there's a lot of people with that size of a house available. So I think that's why my occupancy is up there.
Okay. And then kind of last question on this, but just do you get a lot of those like insurance, like people who stay a long time?
I do, but because I'm on Airbnb, I'm not able to host them.
Okay.
Usually with an insurance claim, they want that property ASAP, like tomorrow. And it could be for a month or 2 months.
Yours are too booked out.
And I'll be too booked out.
Yeah.
Right. So I do try to. I think you asked me earlier. It's like I try to. You can open up your calendar for the whole year. I open it up just like 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
To see if I can get a midterm booking. I mean, I'd prefer because you're not on Airbnb, which means you don't have to like bend over backwards for every little complaint, right? With the Superhost stuff. Reduce your cleaning fees because you don't have to go in there, 4 times a month, 5 times a month. And then if you get someone with insurance, they pay out pretty well. But it's hard to get those and get that lined up. I was lucky with my 4-bedroom house, the one that you guys have been at.
Mm-hmm.
When I first opened it up, because it was new, there was not a lot of bookings, and I had an insurance claim. They were there for like 3 months, and they were paying me, around like $10,000 a month. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Now I don't get those same numbers with Airbnb, but it just depends on if it's available or not because they want something right away. And there's there's hosts out there that specialize just in what we call midterm rentals.
Yeah.
I think that's a really tough market because you have to know a lot of people.
Yeah, it helps to have constant requests for those
Right.
types of leads.
You have
if you're
constant
doing midterm.
requests and to fulfill those requests, so that way, hopefully, those people call you back.
Can I ask where you found that one insurance claim?
So I list my stuff online with my direct booking. I have Airbnb, VRBO, and Zillow. I did corporate housing or something like that. It didn't do very well, but these insurance leads, they'll do one of three ways. They'll call their contacts to whoever has something first, right? Because it's all about speed and timing. But they'll also look on Zillow and they look on Airbnb, and sometimes they'll have the client look. So like the most recent one now that I'm going to book in, that's checking in tomorrow. She found me on Airbnb. Then she called her her agent, and then they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we need these dates. How much and what's the terms?"
Yeah.
So it could come from anywhere. It could come from Airbnb, Zillow, and then again with networking, right?
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of hosts out there, and in forums, and they'll just reach out, or if you respond a few times. I think you had a guest here that does a lot of midterm. Maybe she'll reach out and be like, "Hey, do you have something?"
Yeah.
Most of the time, I can't do it because it's already booked out because
Yeah.
they need something like ASAP.
Yeah. I've had one that stayed there for like 14 months, which was great.
Yeah, it was great, but it's hard and it doesn't happen often.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this point, has the income from your investments and your active business management is it like exceeded your mortgage income?
I would say no, because if you count my mortgage itself,
Just because
on
the
properties.
expenses of
some
holding
people
the properties.
arbitrage where you like rent a property.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I own my properties,
Uh-huh.
so I got mortgages to pay for. I put down either 5, 10, or 20% down.
Right.
Definitely income in there, but also last year we probably put we opened 3 doors, right? And each one of those, with the remodels, probably like 30, 40,000 for each remodel.
Right.
20,000 maybe for like furnishing. So no, I'm still working for sure.
Yeah. But the income is solid enough that it's like.
I would say the income's okay, to be honest with you. Okay, the nice thing with long-term rentals is you get someone in there, they're there for a year or longer, and it's low maintenance.
Right.
But you're getting the least amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. It's passive, right?
Yep.
Even the IRS is passive.
Yeah.
Once you go into Airbnb, it's active income.
Right.
If you're managing yourself, because you're responding to customers, you are, checking up on the property. You have to, fix things. And I was telling my wife, like, yeah, it's great that we have all this, and yes, Airbnb is making enough money to pay down our mortgage and maybe a little bit extra. But it's not like we can go, first class and go to Hawaii by ourselves and have like a full nanny watch the kids. Like, really, all of this is for the kids.
Right. It's more It's still a
long
longer
term
term play.
and that's just our market here.
Yeah.
Right. In Portland or Beaverton. Now, if we wanted something that was replacing our income, we'd probably want to focus somewhere that is more touristy, right? Like, from what I read, anywhere that's near like U.S. Monumental parks is where you would want to be, right? Which is
Joshua
mostly,
Tree, things
which
like
is
that.
mostly on the East Coast. A couple stuff out here, but then you can get the higher rents, right? Like maybe even like Mount Hood. Or this another guy just set
Yeah.
up his A-frame. They're charging like $600 a night. He probably cost him maybe $600,000 at most to set up, to buy the land and to build it out. And he's getting $600 a night. Like, I'm not getting that on my $600,000 property. I'm getting
Right.
like $250 a night.
Right. It's almost over double. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's both the winter season is good there as well as the summer season, right?
Right. So for here, it's nice because it's mostly consistently booked out because of visiting family. People visit family year round, and then you got insurance or people remodeling their homes and need a place to stay. So it's nice that it's consistently booked, so it's not as stressful as being in a seasonal area, but the income's not, it's nothing crazy. You know?
Yeah.
That or I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, if you're able to invest and keep remodeling and pay down your mortgage, I mean, I think that's long term. That's huge.
Yeah.
What, like, if someone was interested in getting started in that type of work or business, like, what would you recommend? Because, like, obviously, I think running a hotel or an Airbnb is just like, it's like totally different than running a long term rental.
Facebook. A lot of forums, YouTube, but honestly, what I would start doing is going on Facebook and looking for local meetups and talking to people.
Just meeting people that are doing it.
Yeah, and people like myself that love this stuff, we'll talk to anybody.
Just like sit down, get coffee or whatever, and learn from a local that's doing it.
You know, don't do what I did. Don't pay anybody online.
$3,000.
$3,000, and then.
Hey, I mean, that got you your pro status, didn't it?
For myself, I guess. Yeah. but yeah, I mean, if I'd known better, I would just go to I would go to meetups. People like talking about this stuff. People like networking, sharing their story.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't do a lot of this when I was in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But Portland, great community, of investors that like to share, their success and help others out. So.
And if you were to go back to, like, your first property, would you start doing Airbnb while you were still living there type situation? Like, would you have set it up that way?
So, yeah, I didn't get into that. But, yeah, my very first property that we owned in San Jose, it was a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath house, downtown San Jose. And I already knew about Airbnb, and I wanted to do it, but I was kind of scared. And we were debating. At this point, my wife was, like, really supportive. We only had my oldest right now, Jack, at the time, and we're like, all right, let's focus on investing. We're going to sell this house, and let's just rent because it just makes more sense. And so I listed the house because I was thinking I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff on the Midwest or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I should try Airbnb. So we took pictures of the house for the listing, and sitting there for like maybe a week. And I was like, I'm going to take these same pictures and throw it on Airbnb and see what happens. And I think the second weekend, I didn't get any offers yet. And I'm like, all right, if we get a booking on Airbnb, we're keeping this house and taking this listing off, and we'll see what happens. So I put on Airbnb, nothing yet. And then I got an offer on the house. We accepted it. And that same night, I got a message from Airbnb for like an $8,000 booking. I'm like, fuck. I should have totally done it. It was like a group of like doctors or whatever needed to do, I forget what you call it, but when they go to a place and need to get their hours, I guess.
Just like an education.
Residency or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, one day off. I don't know what it would have taken us back then, but that was in 2017.
So maybe there's instead of like the model of just buying your first home and converting it into just a long-term rental or whatever, maybe check it out on Airbnb. Like, just give it a whirl, right?
Give it a whirl. And
like, if you're going to be taking professional pictures to sell anyway, may as well just give it a
because now you already have the furniture in there, especially if you're moving far away. It's a lot tougher for those who want to get started and put furniture in, especially if you're remote.
Right,
because
like
I said,
trying to do arbitrage or trying to like buy something and then spend another $30,000 to furnish it, and Whereas if you already have a place and then you're moving, that's a good point, because you've already got the furniture there. You've probably already put some thought and effort into how you've set it up.
Right, and if it's already fully furnished, but also have all like the small amenities, like all the cooking essentials that you don't think of, this is going to make it a lot easier, and you're going to get a lot more reviews faster with those notes, because your guests appreciate that. They don't have to go to a store to pick up salt and pepper or oil or whatever, right?
Totally.
So I think that's why our oldest one does the best. But as these things grow and we'll have more stuff in there, it'll feel more like at home for our next guests.
Cool.
Well, Don, I know you have to go, but if someone was looking to get a hold of you either for mortgage or for Airbnb advice, what's the best way they can find you?
Instagram, I guess. Don. It's DON, or Google me.
And
Don
we'll link
Luong.
you up. And
Yeah.
Don't you have a website for your management business or a name?
Yes, Stumptown Rental Homes at stumptownrentalhomes.com.
Okay.
Oh.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Don.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thanks,
My first
appreciate it, man.
podcast. Yeah.